Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Just getting the bike ready down here for our trip in a couple of days to the British Road Bike Time Trial Championships. Now I've got a lot to do today and tomorrow because I will be driving up a few days beforehand to get a look at the course and to get my preparation dialed in. So I'm going to make this video quite a long one, quite a relaxed one, and leading you all the way up to the event itself. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, and make sure to hit that like button. Really helps the channel out a lot. So a little bit of housekeeping. The race is taking place on the circuit of Ingleton, which was first used in 1989. Now, is that a coincidence or what? That was the year that obviously Greg LeMond won the Tour de France and beat Laurent Fignon on a road bike versus, well, a chap with clip-on handlebars. Now, because it's on road bikes, there's obviously certain regulations involved. I'm gonna leave them up on the screen because there's quite a few to explain. But essentially, you can still wear a skin suit, you can still have deep section wheels. So today we need to pack up the van and get that ready for 2 overnight sleeps at a really nice campsite up in Yorkshire. Second, we need to clean the bike and put a new chain on and make sure that everything is set up ready to go. And 3, we also need to pack some food. Right, so I've got skin suit, the aero bra. I'm not going to need too much. At the end of the day, it's just like packing for a hill climb, except it's about 10 times as long. I'll give the bike a quick wash now, and then I'll take a few things with me just to cover the basics if the bike gets dirty before the race and I have to re-wash it, which is really handy if you have like a portable pressure washer. And all of my spares I usually keep in one bag, like all of my tools, and they'll just travel with me wherever I go. Even when I fly away, I'll take this one bag with me. Also, new chain has to go on, and I'll have to put some wax on it. I just use some drip wax. I don't use the cooker that some people use and stuff. So, brand new Shimano chain. Good news, I found the arm numbers. They were actually in the shed in a box where I think I just threw them there after the British Hill Climb Championships last year. So I'm glad I found them, because otherwise I'd have to be faffing around with pins trying to pin the tiny little numbers onto my arms. These are a lifesaver. Just having a quick stop to stretch my legs, driving through the middle of Wales. It's beautiful around here, really, really beautiful. Just takes forever to get anywhere. It's about a 4-5 hour drive, but it's a nice day and I'm enjoying it. So we have arrived and the weather is beautiful. The temperature's just dropped off though. I need to get changed out of these shorts because it's getting a bit cold. But that over there is actually the road that we're going to be time trialing on in the race. Like from over there, this is like the last couple of kilometers, and then you finish kind of like on that descent just over the top there. I'm going to have some hot rice pudding tonight as a dessert, and I'm going to sit here under the full moon. Well, it's not quite a full moon, but it's quite close actually. Well, having seen the course, I'm really excited for tomorrow's time trial. Really excited. You know, it's not just an out and out, you know, drag strip. Who can hold, you know, X power for X amount of time. There's corners, there's tricky descents. I saw 17% gradient signs along the route as well. So there's lots of things to think about. And on our course recce today, myself and my friend John, I think we were glad to ride it. But tomorrow morning, the wind is supposed to pick up, and it's probably going to pick up throughout the morning. And I don't start until quite late. I'm one of the last riders off at about 11:23 a.m. The wind's going to start picking up. It's going to start blowing through this valley. So behind me and down here. And the last, actually finishing straight, is on the other side of this valley, just over there. This whole section is going to be exposed, I think, to a substantial headwind. So my plan is, for the 42-kilometer course, to break it down into manageable chunks. Now sadly, for some bizarre reason, my power meter has just gone kaput overnight since coming up here. Yesterday it was like completely dead. There was no readings whatsoever, and whenever I do a calibration it says error 20, which is like a calibration error. It can't calibrate. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it looks like I'm gonna have to race tomorrow without a power meter. By the way, if you're looking for a top class with great facilities and even Wi-Fi equipped campsite, look no further than Falls Park here just outside Ingleton. It's a great base, fantastic views. They didn't tell me to say it, I paid to stay here, but it's fantastic. Highly recommend.
The back one's on. Yep, all good.
Well, we're back home and we have a medal. 3rd place. I know it's not a bronze colour, is it? It's blue. Very unusual, but very weighty. And I'm chuffed with it. I really am. It was really close. So the official times at the end were Alex Pickering took the win with a 1:01.55, with Phil Williams in second, a 1:02.15, and then myself at a 1:02.21. A big congratulations to now all the new national champions, of course. But Alex was 3rd at last year's British Time Trial Road Bike Championships, so congrats on the new title, Alex. That must feel amazing. It was much closer than I thought it would be, actually. I'm just really chuffed, as it happens, to make the podium. At one point I was holding top spot with still, you know, the fast riders to finish just behind me, and I was kind of holding my breath, thinking that maybe I could hold out for a 2nd place or even a 1st place, you know, if things had gone my way. But as it turned out, I slipped down the order, but just managed to hang on to that 3rd place in that podium. Now, I want to keep the recap quite brief, because I think I should do a follow-up video where we look at the Strava segments on the course and we break down like where I lost time, maybe where I gained time. And there's plenty of climbing on the course, maybe not as much as I actually thought, but we'll save that for another video. But I want to talk about the day and how that unfolded. So rolling around the car park in the morning, getting the warm-up in and, you know, getting the carbs down and things like that, I was looking at everybody's bikes and just checking them out and seeing what they had. And there was a real mixture of equipment there. You know, there was some very fast equipment, deep section wheels, narrow handlebars, and the wood of wisdom was out, and it was measuring people's handlebars and making sure everyone was in regulations. And then there was people there on, you know, really shallow wheels and rim brakes, and, you know, there was a real mixture of ages and abilities at this event, which was great to see. I think it really shows that the discipline like this can be very accessible. You know, it's not just time trial bikes, it's not just about speed. Anybody can do it. And also, I think it does a really good job of bringing like different disciplines together. So, you know, time trialists, road racers, because this type of course I know would suit a lot of like avid road racing cyclists out there, or even people that do a lot of virtual racing. Like, it's a really good hard circuit, you're on a road bike, you can really push yourself. And also, of course, hill climbers. The fact that this course was really quite hilly, it made the playing field a little bit more even. So after doing my warm-up, I rolled to the start line, and my minute man starting in front of me was my friend John. Now, actually, he proved out to be a really good carrot for me, because where I ended up nearly catching him was on a really tricky, twisty descent into a village, which we'd looked at the day before, and I felt confident that John is a great descender and he knew which lines to take, so I would just hold back a little bit and just watch him down this descent. And then I would kind of chase him on the flat road and provide that, you know, that motivation for me to chase and get past. But after that section, we did, I would say, the bulk of the climbing, because the rest of the course was just gradually rolling uphill. It was still quite fast, although we had this nagging cross headwind coming over the mountain, which is about 800 meters high next to us on our left shoulder. And along this section, you kind of went through some little villages, there was some twists and turns. I was catching plenty of riders, which was also adding a lot of motivation. And also, thankfully, I wasn't getting caught by anybody myself. Now, there's always that thought in your mind of, is someone going to catch me? You know, the guy that started 1 minute behind me, you know, is he any closer to me? But you always have to remember, don't look behind, because looking behind doesn't affect the way that you race. Only looking forward affects the way you race, and looking down, looking at your power meter, looking at your heart rate monitor, or things like that. And speaking of which, I did this race completely blind. I unfortunately didn't have a power reading. I had cadence, bizarrely, but no power. And this was something that caused me a little bit of stress the day before, because I had to change the way I rode the time trial. Now, I was looking to ride the first couple of climbs as hard as possible, and then maybe just float just above threshold and then come back down. But the problem with not having a power meter and going on feel is that you can't understand how much you are over threshold and for how long, because you don't have the immediate feedback. That's all you have is the feedback of, yes, this is hard, and I know I'm over threshold, but I don't know by how much. And also the frustration is that I don't have any of like data to look back on now to actually validate if it was a strong performance or not. I know it was a good ride. Finishing third on the podium is a strong ride, but I don't actually have any numbers now to utilize to back that up. I knew what it should feel like to be at threshold pretty much for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. You know, it gradually gets harder and harder. So coming into Ribblehead Viaduct, I had some fans on the side of the road, which has provided great motivation for me. Always having someone there is great because it's something for you to aim for. And we whizzed past and up the final drag towards what would be a horrendous headwind to the finish. The last 7 kilometers took forever. Now this final section even had a big 2 kilometer, like -5% descent in it, but you didn't really reach much of a speed on it just because of how strong the wind was. Now, I'd intelligently save something for the end, just so that I didn't like completely park up doing 30 kilometers an hour into this headwind for the next 10-15 minutes. I knew this would be a crucial section, so I decided to save a little bit of energy for it. Getting to the finish though was a big relief. Like, it did not feel like we were getting anywhere on that last section, and I speak for a lot of us, I think, who took part in the event and really struggled through that last section. It wasn't like I was slowing down or I felt like I had no power. I felt strong and I was pushing well, but I just wasn't going anywhere. But I crossed the line and I was provisionally first, and in some very strong company with riders who do this quite often and have put a lot of work onto their positions, their aerodynamic equipment and clothing and kit choice. And I was quite proud to come and do an event that I only decided to do at the last minute. But I think seeing how competitive I was, I think if I come back next year, if the course is similar, I think I'll put more effort into equipment choice and thoughts about how I can get the most out of my setup and go faster. So could be something for the future, definitely. I loved the event and I loved the experience. I felt like I got a lot out of it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, like the video, and I will see you next time.